Hello, this is Abha Gautam and welcome to Ganesh Institute channel. So now, in the series of literary criticism and theory, we are taking up another topic under classical criticism, which is catharsis in tragedy. So catharsis in tragedy is the emotional release basically that comes from watching a tragic play, reading a tragic novel, or experiencing some other type of tragedy. Now, this theory was given by Aristotle. So, Aristotle's theory of catharsis was that people are moved to experience emotions. They don't want to feel when they watch tragedies because these feelings are purged through tears and laughter. Now, when it comes to catharsis, there are many perspectives. So, one theory is from Aristotle. Then there is another criticism of Aristotle's theory on catharsis. So, let's see how it goes. So, here you can see, firstly, when we are talking about Aristotle's theory, as I mentioned, that it is about the emotions, the experience. So, people, do you think that if there is an emotion of which is giving us tear and laughter, and that is a mix, we usually resist it, right? So it is how catharsis works. And there are some other views also that Puritans, these are Protestants. According to Puritans, they believe that theater should only be used for moral instruction and entertainment, right? So whenever there is any tragedy, so tragedies can teach us about our weaknesses by portraying characters who make mistakes and suffer from them for them, right? So when there is a character, any protagonist in a theater, in a story, and if he or she does wrong, then the result which he or she faces is also accordingly. So according to Puritans, tragedies are there to tell everybody that, see, if even if portraying characters are making mistakes, then they also have to suffer, right? And there is a view that some people believe that tragedies are bad for mental health because they can cause depression. However, some people believe that tragedies can be therapeutic. How? Because they allow people to confront their fears and process their emotions in a safe and controlled environment, right? So, when we talk about the Aristotle's view, according to him, catharsis in tragedy, that means the emotion having fear, pity, these emotions have the power to purify. Okay, so that means it is about the power to purify the emotions. What does it stands for here? Catharsis, right? He believed that through watching a tragic play, one would experience fear and pity, and these are necessary for living well. The audience feels these emotions because they can empathize with what is happening on stage, right? So, when there is empathy and you empathize with what is happening, so it gives you some type of vibration. This leads them to feel better about themselves and their own lives because they are able to identify with the unfortunate events that take place, right? So Aristotle also believed that through tragedy, people were able to feel terror, pity, and this would lead them feeling better about their own lives because they are able to empathize, right? Now, there is one criticism from Chris Farron. He claims that today, watching something tragic doesn't necessarily make us feel better about our own lives. And that we do not need Aristotle to tell us what tragedy is. These are his words. So he argues that catharsis only works through the action of identifying with what is happening on stage. So let's say if you are seeing this protagonist who is acting, who is the leading role, who is having the leading role in the play, and he's doing wrong, and as results he's getting wrong. So now you should relate with it. Like, if he argues that only works through the action of identifying with what is happening on stage. If you can identify this protagonist, that for wrong will happen, then it is fine. Catharsis will act and will act as a power to purify. But if you are such personality that you don't want to identify it, you don't want to relate with it, so if you can't identify with it, there is no piece of art which has the power to purify the emotions, right? So people can, what is the difference in between Aristotle and Chris Farron here? Aristotle says that people can feel better about themselves through tragedy, which works by putting life in perspective and showing the world as it is rather than how we want it to be. But Chris Farron, he believes this to be false because catharsis only occurs through identification, right? Through identification, and if you don't identify with what is happening, then there is no purifying effect. But if you see, on the other hand, Aristotle's beliefs have been around for a long time and have been debated by many people, some of which agree with him while others do not. So we can, it depends. When you write this in your answer sheet, you can say in conclusion whether you want to support Aristotle or Chris. It totally depends on you, how you want to conclude. So tragedy has the ability to show us the world as it is and help us understand that life isn't fair sometimes and we have to accept it. This can be helpful in purifying our emotions and making us feel better about ourselves, right? Chris Perron, however, makes a valid point that catharsis doesn't always work. But yes, it has potential to do so, right? To, if we try to identify what is happening, what is karma effect, then maybe it can purify our emotions. So both are okay at the at their respective places. So in conclusion, you can say that Aristotle's view of catharsis is that it has the power to purify the emotions. And if question will ask that, okay, what are Chris Farron's views on it? So you can say that he believes that this is not always the case. And then you can give your comments. What do you want to say? What do you think? Who is right here? So I'm hoping that you have understood it. And if so, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel. See you in the next video. Take care till then.